Okay, so today we are on lesson number 23. Fearlessness is not true bravery. Human beings close their eyes to the question, why do I live? And focus only on the question, how do I live? A person who knows no fear may seem strong, but this is not true bravery. It is only a failure to discern the truth. Such a person is like a child who goes after a pair of red hot tongues. Okay, very good. So, like we've been going over these lessons recently that deal with the wisdom side of Buddhism. Most people are only familiar with the compassion aspect of Buddhism, loving kindness and cultivating compassion and gratitude, but maybe they're not as exposed to the wisdom, which is the power to make that compassion uh, come to fruition. Like if you have compassion, let's say, okay, I feel very sorry for a lot of people who struggle with homelessness or something. And I feel very sorry and I want to do something, but I have no idea what to do. I don't have that wisdom. So, lacking the wisdom, my compassion doesn't reach them. It just remains in my own head. It doesn't reach out all the way to them. And it doesn't reduce that suffering in the world. Compassion is good karma of the mind. So, of course, it's not useless. It's improving our own headspace. And it all starts with the compassion before we can look for that wisdom. How can we solve this problem? We need that wisdom. But if we don't have the compassion, so of course nothing starts. Yeah, so this lesson has to do with it's both compassion and wisdom, but maybe more specifically focusing on the wisdom side, because many people think that fearlessness is true bravery. So, many people have admiration for those who go to the top of the cliff and they do special maneuvers with their skateboards or something, as if they have no fear of dying. And it is touching because every day, many of us, we live in fear of dying. We hear about shootings, neighbors come and kill their neighbors. It's intimidating. Of course, that's why many people stop listening to the news. So if we're honest with ourselves, we can acknowledge the fear of dying because no living being ever wants to die. Just look at the chicken or the cow, the reaction, um, how they don't want to die when they're about to get slaughtered. So, yeah. So this is a matter of how honest we want to be with ourselves instead of trying to look good in front of others because we don't want to look vulnerable. Everyone tries not to share, those vulnerable points. But even with the other day, we were talking about like even people who jump off the, let's say, Golden Bridge in San Francisco in order to commit suicide, halfway in the middle, they changed their mind because while they were contemplating dying, they didn't realize their fear of death. Yeah, because how can you have experience of something that is still hasn't come yet? Whatever we imagine it to be, it will not be the truth. It will be different. It's like you've never been to, let's say, Iraq, and you keep imagining this way or that way. But once we go to Iraq, and then suddenly you're like, wow, it's different from everything I imagined. It's different. So those people, they change their mind. And actually one of them now is an activist for suicide prevention. He survived, fortunately, after his fall. Yeah, he survived, and he maybe broke a few bones, but then he survived, and now he's helping people who have suicidal thoughts. And yeah, so so Buddhism calls these people who seemingly are fearless on the outside, like doing skateboarding on top of a cliff, doing those maneuvers, taking very high risks activities. They look like they're fearless, but Buddha says they are like a person or a child who goes after a pair of red hung hot bars or tongues. Like barbecue, when you want to make barbecue, the tongue becomes very hot. A child doesn't know that. So fearlessly, seemingly fearlessly, they come and touch it. That's really horrible. And it's actually foolish. So, what is true bravery in Buddhism? So, it kind of helps us contemplate this next question. What is true bravery? True bravery is to ask ourselves why we are here in the first place. Even if the answer doesn't reveal itself to us so immediately, to have the strength of the mind and courage to acknowledge this is an important question. I don't want to be like an actor who goes on stage and suddenly doesn't know what to do. That's ridiculous. So, why do I live? Most people they close their eyes to this question and focus only on the question, how do I live? Because they don't have the courage to face a question that the answer is not obvious to them, and maybe they don't have the patience to seek it out. So they just ignore it. That's it. So in Buddhism, that's not true bravery. And for us to come here, do recitation, meditation, listen to the Dharma, it's the height of bravery to confront something that's so important and get insight, allow our mind and heart to be open to get those insights and epiphanies about the answer. So good job everyone for being here, practicing together. Today is Thursday. Every 2 weeks we have a special lecture by Yuichi at 8 p.m. Pacific time. Have a wonderful Thursday. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. Bye, Rocio. Bye, everyone.